My name is Mia, and I'm 30 years old. I work as a sales representative for a company. I have a 32-year-old husband, Jake, and 2 kids, a little boy named Max and a daughter named Lily. Jake works in an office and always comes home on time. He picks up the kids from daycare and does the housework at night. However, recently, things have been tense between Jake and me. I travel a lot for work, and Jake doesn't like it. When I come home, he complains, and we end up fighting. Our marriage has become a bit awkward because of this. One evening, after I came back from a business trip, Jake said to me, "You're late. What took you so long? You're probably busy, but I've been exhausted taking care of the kids." James suddenly got upset with me. "Don't be sarcastic. It's not like I want to be on these trips. Why don't you come home early sometimes and spend time with the kids? They keep asking for you." I didn't know how to respond to that, but I have work to do. "Remember, you told me before not to worry about the kids because you'd be home early and take care of them. Because of that, I gave you the weekends off, and I always spend time with them then. Don't make it sound like I'm ignoring our kids. I'm not saying you're ignoring them. I just think you should focus a bit more on our family. I know it's hard, but you took on the responsibility of taking care of the kids. Don't try to go back on what you said." Every time I came home, we argued about the kids. I was feeling stressed from both work and James's complaints at home. One day, when I was home, Jake's phone, which was on the table, rang. I wondered who it was from. I checked and saw a message from a woman. "What's this? It doesn't seem like it's work." I didn't look at the message closely at the time. I thought it was from a friend and didn't think much of it. Little did I know, this would later become a huge issue. I regret not asking James about it, as my kids didn't have to go through the pain they ended up facing. Soon after, I had to leave for another business trip. This one was going to be long, 4 days and 3 nights. A meeting for a major project was scheduled at the client's headquarters. It was a great opportunity for me to grow my career. I had told Jake about it in advance, but our relationship had cooled off, so we weren't really talking much. Before I left, I told the kids, "I'm going to do my best at work. Mom, please play with us when you get back. We love you, Mom, because you always play with us after work." The kids were excited for me to come home. They are my top priority, and to be honest, Jake's income isn't enough to support us. I work hard for my kids, and that's what keeps me going. When I return, I'll definitely spend time with them. With that in mind, I left for the trip. The meeting went well. The client was happy with my presentation, agreed to our proposal, and gave us the go-ahead to start. My boss praised me for doing a great job. Now, I could go home and see my kids without any worries, or so I thought. I was about to return home after a long day when I got a call on my phone. "Hello. Hi, this is from the daycare. Your kids have missed the past 4 days. Is everything okay with them?" What? I tried calling James every day, but he just said they were fine and hung up. I got worried, so I decided to call you. That's odd. If something happened, like a fever, Jake would have called me, just like before. I immediately called Jake, but his phone was disconnected. I had a bad feeling. I rushed home. When I got home, I immediately noticed something strange. All the furniture was gone, and the house was empty. What? What is going on here? I went inside, looked around, and was shocked. To my horror, my kids were sleeping on the floor of an empty bedroom. You've got to be kidding me. I quickly woke them up. "Mom, you're home. I'm hungry." Max and Lily both hugged me tightly. "Where is Jake?" I took out my phone and called Jake, but no matter how many times I called, I couldn't get through. I kept calling, and finally he answered. "What?" I heard Jake's irritated voice. "What do you mean, what? What's going on? The house is empty, and the kids are left behind. Where are you?" "Oh, I'm in the new house with my girlfriend," James said flatly. It sounded like he was talking about the weather, like it was no big deal. Huh? I couldn't understand what Jake was saying. Girlfriend? A new house? He left the kids behind to be with her. "What do you mean, girlfriend?" "Yeah, I've been seeing someone else," Jake sighed. "I'm not coming back. I can't take care of the kids anymore. I took all the furniture, but I left the kids there." What? I was speechless. Cheating and abandoning the kids. This wasn't just cruel to me, it was cruel to them too. My kids were hungry and upset. "You better get back here soon. The kids were just sleeping. If you're home from your trip, you can take care of them." I felt like I was about to lose my mind. Are you serious? How could you say something so horrible after leaving small kids with no one to take care of them? I don't want to take care of them anymore. Goodbye. With that, Jake hung up. Later, Lily got a fever, so we took her to the hospital. I'm glad you came home early, I said. I see. I was relieved when the doctor checked her, but then the doctor asked me why Jake left the kids behind. There was no way I could tell the doctor that my husband had abandoned us to be with his girlfriend. I just gave a vague answer and left the hospital. I was so angry that I wanted to find a way to make Jake pay for what he did. I couldn't imagine living with him anymore, so I decided to talk to a lawyer to figure out my next steps. When a lawyer heard my story, he said, "That's awful. Leaving young kids alone like that. It's almost criminal." He raised his eyebrows and asked, "So, you don't know where James is?" "Right, it seems like he turned off his phone." "I see. First, we need to find out where he is. I'll ask a friend of mine to help us." The lawyer was really supportive, and I was grateful for his help. I took some time off from work to care for the kids and think things over while the detective worked on finding Jake. Jake had never been very involved with the kids, but I never imagined he'd treat them like this. No matter the excuse, leaving your kids behind like that is unforgivable. And on top of that, he was having an affair. When did he even meet his girlfriend? Was he seeing her while I was away on business trips and leaving the kids home alone? The thought made my blood boil, and I could never forgive him. He deserved to face the consequences for what he did. Jake didn't hide or run, so we quickly found out where he was. He was living in an apartment in a nearby town with the woman he was having an affair with. He commuted to work from there. His girlfriend worked as a bartender and had been married twice but had no children. On weekends, when James wasn't taking care of the kids, he would go to the bar to play darts and started spending more time there. He left the kids alone at home while I was on business trips and started his affair. His girlfriend was in debt and was using Jake for his money, not just for drinks, but for her living expenses too. I knew Jake wasn't the most thoughtful person, but I never expected it to go this far. I felt defeated and stared at the sky in despair. That evening, my lawyer and I went to the apartment. When we knocked, Jake answered. His girlfriend wasn't there, probably working for the night. "Oh, it's you," Jake glared at me. "What you did is a crime. Don't you realize that?" I said, cutting straight to the point. The lawyer explained the legal responsibility I had as a parent and what our options were, but Jake didn't seem to care. I know, Jake said, not looking bothered. But I couldn't take care of the kids anymore. I just wanted my freedom. Jake's words were pathetic and unacceptable. There are so many single dads out there raising multiple kids on their own. I take care of my kids on weekends, and what's so hard about looking after your own children for a few hours after work during a week? And if it's too much, how does that justify cheating and abandoning your family? It was just an excuse. Did you plan to just run away if something happened to the kids? Do you think life would just go on like that? Well, if you had stayed home and raised the kids, there wouldn't have been a problem, Jake said, blaming me. I was completely shocked by his response. "I'm not doing anything wrong," James said, still refusing to change his mind. I realized then he would never change. "I don't regret having the kids, but marrying you, Jake, was the biggest mistake of my life. Anyone who can treat a child's life like that isn't even human." "Call me whatever you want," he shrugged. "I have the right to live my life." Jake didn't have an ounce of guilt or remorse. I was disgusted by how he acted. Jake's parents were shocked by what their son had done, leaving the kids behind and running off with another woman. They came to me and apologized, getting down on their knees. I knew it wasn't their fault, but I accepted their apology. My own parents were furious, and of course, they had every right to be. Who wouldn't be angry after what Jake had done to their grandkids? But I decided to handle the situation myself and asked my parents to step back. After a long conversation with my lawyer, I decided to sue Jake and the woman he had been cheating with, hoping to bring criminal charges for neglecting the kids. During the early preparations, Jake refused to acknowledge the lawsuit. At the trial, he admitted to leaving the kids behind, but tried to argue that he didn't mean to put them in danger. I sat there stunned as I listened to him. How could I have let this happen? I started thinking back to when I first met Jake. In the beginning, he was kind and respectful of my opinions, even though he had his flaws. But after we got married and had kids, everything changed. I didn't realize that Jake didn't really like kids in the first place. The trial didn't last long, and I won the case. Then the police got involved and began investigating the situation. James was questioned and charged with child abandonment under protective custody. Since it was his first offense, the charges were dropped, but it still felt like a conviction. I took this chance to ask for a divorce. I knew I would never be with him again. Afterward, my parents, who had been worried about their grandkids, came to visit often. The kids loved seeing their grandparents, and that was the best thing for them. "That was such a hard time for you," my mom said, smiling with relief. "I'm so glad they're safe now." My dad was still furious and took every chance to lash out at Jake. I also filed a damages claim against Jake's girlfriend. But what could she do? She closed her bar and disappeared, and I've never heard from her since. I heard that Jake was fired from his job after everything and was now living alone in a rundown apartment. But honestly, it didn't matter to me anymore. This whole situation was shocking. I never imagined Jake would abandon the kids and run off with another woman. It taught me that life is unpredictable and you can't always foresee what's coming. As I reflected on everything, something unexpected happened that changed my life. As you might have guessed, I was proposed to again, this time by one of my colleagues from work. He had seen what I'd been through and had always been there for me. I was initially overwhelmed, but after talking to him, I started feeling at ease. Over time, I grew to like him more and more. I worked up the courage to ask him to be my boyfriend, and he accepted, even though he knew I had 2 kids. Unlike Jake, he loves and cares for the kids. They also grew to like him, and he quickly became a part of our family. We got married a little while later, and a few years after that. I asked my kids what they remembered about Jake. They both vaguely remembered him, but told me the most striking thing they recalled was how he ignored them, even when they were hungry and needed him. It's amazing how kids remember the most shocking or traumatic things, especially how they felt at the time. For them, that was a painful experience. We have a responsibility to raise our children with care and love. As I watched my kids play with their new dad at the park, I thought about the future that lay ahead.